Hey, what is going on, YouTubers? Jay here from MJTech. Today I got here for you guys the brand new Xiaomi Mi 11i, and I have to say this is a all-around very impressive phone. Xiaomi came with a couple variants of this Mi 11. They have the Mi 11 Lite, the Mi 11 Ultra, and of course the Mi 11i, and even the Mi 11 regular. So there's a couple of them, and I know it might confuse you. They just came with this model here, which is cheaper than the Mi 11 Ultra and even the Mi 11. So of course they're going to cut certain features from the device, but we still get that amazing 108 megapixel camera. It has 8K recording at 30 frames per second and much more. So of course you guys are here to see the unboxing and the quick hands-on of the device. So let's go ahead and get started with the unboxing. I believe this phone is going to retail for around $700. I believe it's $760 or $780. I can't recall, but I know it's under $800. So it doesn't have a flagship price, which is good. So the box, as we saw, is kind of simple all the way around. We just got here the Mi 11 logos all the way around. Xiaomi likes to keep it nice and simple. And so here we have a little divider where inside, I was surprised to see that they have included a case. We do have there the SIM ejector tool, and it comes of course with manuals. And inside here, there's like a little envelope. We have the 3.5mm headphone jack adapter, and it's right here. So it doesn't have a dedicated 3.5mm headphone jack, but at least we got the adapter, and that's quite nice from them. They didn't have to. We know that USB-C can be found anywhere. So here we have the case. Again, very cool, because these devices don't have a middleman here in the States, which means that cases are a little harder to find since they come basically directly from the manufacturer, which is Xiaomi, to the consumer here in the United States. So that makes it a little bit harder for accessories to be available. So again, thank you very much, Xiaomi. This is the case, transparent. Not my favorite, to be honest with you, but it does work and it does cover the device from day one. So there we have it for the content, or at least some of it, that comes inside of this divider. And of course here we have the device, and I covered this again. It was uncovered. Like I said, I have used it now for the past 48 hours approximately, and yes, it is a very interesting phone. So on here we have another divider, and this is their 33-watt charger, but as you can tell, it doesn't have the plug for the US. And the problem with it is that, well, yes, I can get the adapter for it, but then it makes it super huge and it falls off the wall. But this is a 33-watt charger, and if it was supported here for the United States, it can charge your device from 0 to 100 under 1 hour. But it is less than the regular Mi 11 or the Mi 11 Ultra. Those phones, they can charge a little bit faster than this one. So we can tell why, at least right there, why the price on this particular one is a little bit less. But it doesn't mean that it is a bad device. They're just giving you the options in case you guys really don't care about the super fast charging. Well, you have the option to go with a cheaper model. So here we have the USB-C cable. I have plenty laying around the house, so I don't really take it out of the box. And that's all we have here for the accessories. So now we got the box here set aside, and this is the Mi 11i, and I haven't removed the wrapper yet just because I wanted you to see some of the cool features already on this device. For the first time ever, I see that we have Dolby Atmos dual speakers. I never seen that before, and if I'm wrong, just let me know down below in the description. That's a very, very cool feature to have, and this phone carries, again, that 108 ultra high resolution camera with the ability to record in 8K 30 frames per second. We do have right here the 120 Hertz 6.67 inch display AMOLED panel, and it does have a little dot for the camera, which is the 20 megapixel sensor camera. And down here we can see that it comes with the amazing Snapdragon 888. Now it doesn't have anything fancy like the Lenovo, which has a dedicated fan for cooling. This one doesn't have that, but it's still very cool to know that this has I would say flagship specifications at a almost mid-range device price. It is still, again, under $800. So flagship devices, they go for $1,000 up. So again, that's very cool. It does come with the Adreno 660, and the display has HDR10 Plus and 1300 nits of brightness, so it's going to get very, very bright. And of course, it has a slim and stylish design with the battery of 4520. Now, some of the things that, well, I can't say they're cons. It all depends on the consumer is the fact that it doesn't have wireless charging. The camera on the back here, again, even though it is a 108 megapixel sensor camera, it doesn't have optical image stabilization. This time you have a flat display. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is a bad thing, but just so that you know, it doesn't have the curved display as we will see on the other Mi 11i's, and it doesn't have a quad HD resolution. This one is a 1080p display. And remember guys, this is Xiaomi. I know that I review sometimes off-brand phones, but of course this device is going to have a premium feel. It's going to have a very nice solid frame, which is made of aluminum, and on the front here we have Corning Gorilla Glass number 5, as well as on the back, so it is made out of glass. And as I said before, the main shooter here in the back side is going to be a 108 megapixel. We have it together with the 5 megapixel macro lens and an 8 megapixel ultra wide lens with the LED flash, and it does have dual speakers. We get here 2 on the top, and then we have here 1 at the bottom, or actually one of them is for it's called Zoom audio. So one microphone from the top, once you zoom in on your camera, it's going to try to focus on the sound far away, which is kind of weird. That's another cool feature about this phone that I've never seen before, is the Zoom audio feature, and I'm pretty sure other big companies, they will try to adopt it. Again, these are features that we have never seen, or at least I haven't seen in any other device. So now that this thing is turned off, on the right side of the phone, we got the volume rockers up and down, and this is the power / fingerprint scanner as well. So it doesn't have an on-screen fingerprint, but it is set here on the side, and it's surprisingly very accurate, which is something I was looking forward to. And here on the left-hand side, we have absolutely nothing. Towards the bottom, you have the USB-C with the main microphone, one of the loudspeakers, and we get here the SIM tray. It is a dual SIM, dual standby device, and it doesn't support TF card. There's 2 versions of this same device. We have one with 128 gigs, which is the one that I'm carrying right now, and then you got the other one which has 256 gigabytes of internal memory, but they both have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Alrighty guys, so here we have now the lock screen coming up. So that means that the phone has, of course, already booted up and everything is set to go. I just recorded my face, and it was actually quite simple. It did work very nicely, and since I have the camera in front of me, sometimes it kind of fails, but you can see it up here where that little check mark is. If I lock it and then unlock it, you can see that quickly, that check mark, that means that it has read my face. But let's do the same thing here and place it to the side. This is the fingerprint. You guys can observe that even with my left hand, it does work very nicely and fast. It is, I would say, very accurate. And the same thing goes here with the right thumb. It is super accurate. Of course, you have to place it in a way where you don't provide any spaces on the actual fingerprint, otherwise it'll be an error, but for the most part it does work quite nicely. And these are things that I have observed after the 48 hours of usage. Another thing is that I did notice that this phone is very similar in design to the Redmi K40 Pro Plus. I would say it's almost identical, so I will call this the international version of that particular device, which is amazing. And that well, yes, it has, again, tons of features. And here from the camera, I just want to show you real quick that it does have, if you go into videos, it does have that 8K recording capability. So let's go here to the upper right hand side corner, and there we can see it, guys, 8K at 30 frames per second. We have it right here. So if I try to go into 60, it doesn't let me, but it still does a lot better than many other phones that have come with the 8K technology. They go up to 24 frames per second. This one goes a little bit more above and beyond, and it's all thanks to that big 108 megapixel sensor camera in the back. So we have 4K up to 60 frames per second. We have 1080p 60 frames per second, and then 720p goes up to 60 frames per second as well. So again, very, very interesting. On the front here, the camera, this is the 20 megapixel sensor camera. We can do up to 1080p. It's set right there, 1080p 60 frames per second, and they were advertising it at 30 frames per second. There we can see it once again, 30 frames, 60 frames per second. So yes, it does support it as well. Very cool. And then if we go here into settings and we go into display, I want to show you that this is in fact a 120 hertz display as well. So there we go. Let's go down here. Let's click on refresh rate, and that's where I have it at 120 hertz. Of course, you can go into standard 60 hertz, and that'll save you a little bit of battery. But if you want that very cool looking display, then just go straight to this setting and set it up to 120 hertz, and you guys will love it. The battery is at 4,520 milliamps, as I said before, and it's been holding up quite well. So far, believe it or not, in the 48 hours, it came with about, I think it was 85%, and I haven't had to charge it yet, which is again a very, very cool thing to know. 4,520, it's a big battery if you guys ask me. And also this phone has a for the display, again, it's a 1080p display, and it does have the 20:9 ratio as well. So again, very, very cool. Another thing I wanted to show you here is, of course, some of the benchmarks that I completed already. So we have here the Antutu benchmark, and this is one of the best that I've seen. I still use it as a reference. They don't have it on the Play Store anymore, but if you go into Google and you download the APK, they actually have an update for it, and it gave it 780,000. Again, that's the best score that I've seen in a very long time, and a lot of reviewers out there are mentioning that this is better, or that it's getting a better score than the Mi 11 and the Mi 11 Ultra. So again, very, very interesting. I do like this phone so far. I mean, I don't have any complaints, and like I said before, it has 1300 nits. 1300 nits of brightness. So when you have this, let's say out there, you know, in the outdoors, or if there's a very bright light for whatever reason, this thing is going to look good even under those conditions, because again, the brightness is absolutely beautiful. I almost forgot to mention that up here we do have the IR Blaster for the remote. Yes, it does have an integrated remote, which is again another feature that, well, I thought had vanished from smartphones, but apparently Xiaomi decided to bring one, and we can see that here if you go into tools, I believe it is, and right here we can see the application being pre-downloaded already. It's called Mi Remote, and yes, you can set up your TV and hook it up with your phone and have your remote, everything at once. So again, a very cool little feature. The only things that I already mentioned that I just wasn't, you know, all that happy about is the fact that it doesn't have OIS. I kind of like the curved display, but I know a lot of people are going to prefer the flat display. There's also many complaints about that, people just wanting a display like this one, and I don't blame them. You get better view of everything. And well, one of the biggest things is not having wireless charging, but other than that, I would say this is almost a perfect device. The camera here in the middle does have like a little silver, I would say glare. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's nothing to really worry about, but it is definitely there. So that's something just to, you know, for you guys to keep in mind. Also, something I do want to mention here that I almost forgot is that I did notice a rubber piece here by the same tray on the inner side, and that's because this device is IP53 certified, which means that it is dust and splash protected, but it's not IP67. Do not get it confused. Do not submerge this into water, otherwise you guys might be disappointed. And also, it comes in 3 different colors. So we have the Cosmic Black, the Celestial Silver, and Frosty White as well. My preferred color is the black version, and it does get a lot of fingerprints on the back side here, so I will recommend that you first, you know, kind of clean it and then install your case. You will thank me later. It makes things a lot easier. Very nice design, very cool phone all the way around with very little to complain about. I do like the new features of it, including that Zoom audio. I do like the Dolby technology in it.
First learned about this 7 years ago on a mission in Brazil to capture a wanted fugitive. When we got there, it tore through our unit in seconds. The target has superhuman abilities. It had the same marking you do, Cole. It's a birth.
Well, there we go. As you guys can hear, the quality is definitely not deniable. This thing sounds amazing. I really want to get my hands on it and come with a full review of this device. Let me know down below what you guys really want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. Also click on the bell icon so that you don't miss future videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next one.